Hey, how's it going? Mr. Deadman of the Dead Man's Tone podcast. I hope you're having a great day. If not, well, I don't know what to tell you. Press the thumbs up button. Maybe that'll help your day. Man, okay, anyway. So we're talking about the police reform bill, the one that the Republicans put together and tried to put through. The one that had a chance and was actually, riding the wave of the executive order, Trump's executive order, and it looked like it was actually going to be able to address certain things, like qualified immunity, like chokeholds, cameras, things like that, no-knock warrants. But instead of either passing it or asking for changes and then passing it, the Democrats just turned it down completely. Look, this doesn't have to be a divisive issue. It really doesn't. It would be much better if the Republicans and Democrats worked together to pass something like this. That would be great. But they're not willing to. And it's not the Republicans that are not willing to. In fact, the Republicans are willing to work with the Democrats on this. They expressed that. They made that known. They made that clear. But the Democrats are not. What does that tell you? I don't care if you're liberal, man. If you're liberal, that's fine, okay? No problem. If you're leftist, then I have some problems, okay? But even with the liberal, even though you may not agree with what I'm saying, it might be in doubt, be like, no, I'm sure the Republicans, some of them are dragging their feet on this. But look at it. Like, the Republicans are saying, look, we're willing to work with you. And what did the Democrats say? No, this bill didn't do enough. And what happened afterwards? Was there a talk about what to do with the bill to make it better? No, there wasn't that talk. That talk didn't happen. So what does that tell you? Actions speak louder than words. To me, that says they are willing. They're willing to keep this police brutality issue going, so that maybe the Democrats want to run on it for 2020. Maybe they want to run on it. I don't know. But to me, that sounds like bullshit. They're kicking the can so that way they can have it when Biden runs. Another way to look at it is that they don't want to give Trump any sort of victory at all, because he's going to claim it. He's going to say, look, they happened under my presidency. They don't want to give him any sort of victory, anything close to it. They would rather pretty much sacrifice black lives. Like, that's what they're saying here. They're saying police brutality matters, but not enough. Not enough. What's more important is making sure Trump doesn't get any shred of victory at all. That's weird. That's not right. That's not right. And so what does this bill do? Let's take a look at it together. It does address qualified immunity. Let's take a look at the qualified immunity thing. I'm looking at this live right now. This is what I do when I live stream. So if you like this sort of thing, this actually seems like it'd be better off as a live stream. I hope you stick around for the whole video. I have no idea how long it will be. But qualified immunity, okay. So it says, it shall not be a defense or immunity to any action brought under this section against a local law enforcement officer or a state correctional officer. So these actions cannot be used as a defense or immunity. The defendant was acting in good faith, or the defendant believed reasonably or otherwise that his or her conduct was lawful at the time when the conduct was committed. So they can't, how they say ignorance of the law is an excuse? Guess what? Now the police can't use that either. They cannot use that either. Wow, that's pretty good. That way, if a cop is being a dick to you and he thought he was in the right and it turns out he wasn't, guess what? You can hold him accountable. Nice. That's good. Let's see. The rights, privileges, are immunities secured by the Constitution and laws were not clearly established at the time of their deprivation by the defendant, or that at this time the state and local was otherwise such the defendant could not. Okay, so another way of saying didn't know about the law. They thought what they're doing was constitutional, but it turns out it wasn't afterwards. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Before that would get a pass. They're asking to change that. That's fine. That's good. Let's see if this bill talks about chokeholds. Everyone's talking about chokeholds. Let's see if this bill is. Let's see. Incentivizing. That might be a bad word. Incentivizing banning. Incentivize banning of chokeholds and carted holds. Okay, some people might have a problem with that. They might want to just eliminate chokeholds altogether. Now, there might be a time or place where a chokehold might be required. Like, a cop's job, sometimes they do encounter criminals that are willing to be aggressive and actually fight them. And they might have to use some maneuvers to kind of get them restrained, get them in a situation where they can't attack them anymore, right? That's going to happen. Especially, let's say it's a domestic violence situation. You come on in and the wife is beating the crap out of the husband, right? So you pull her off. Next thing you know, the husband's beating you. They usually go in pairs there. They usually have someone, backup. Always with domestic violence, domestic disturbance, you're always going to have backup. At least you should. But that might be a situation that might spiral out of control where you could still handle it physically. You don't need to draw tasers or guns, but you might need to use certain holds. Okay, anyway. So it defines what a chokehold is. Okay. Any pressure to the throat or windpipe, use of maneuvers that restrict blood or oxygen flow to the brain. Okay. To do limitation or eligibility for funds beginning in the first fiscal year, beginning after the date of enactment of this act. State or local jurisdictions may not receive funds under the Burn Grant Program or the COPS Grant Program for a fiscal year on that day to do. So if they use chokeholds. So, see, here's the thing. So if a department continues to use chokeholds after this act, they're not going to receive grant money. They're not going to receive federal money. And guess what these police departments like? They like money, just like how you and I like money. So if they continue to use the chokeholds, they're just not going to be given money and federal money. That's going to be a huge motivator right there. So chokeholds would only then, in that situation, be used very in very limited situations, because otherwise you have to explain to your boss, to your commanding officer, why you did that, because they're about to lose some money. Let's see. What else do we have? So what does it say? Okay, so it doesn't. Okay, so yeah, it's just spelling out that it's going to be disincentivizing chokeholds, or so that's fun. I mean, how is that a bad thing? It's literally spelling out, and I don't see any exception. It's not like it's giving you an exception here. There's no open. Let's see. Chokeholds are civil right violations. Okay. To do for the purpose of this section, application of any pressure to the throat, windpipe. To do. Okay, look, I just read this. I'm not seeing any out or any opening to where a police officer could still use a chokehold and still be okay. All right? If you just look at this as it's written, if they use a chokehold, that means their department is not getting federal money, which is, man, if you want the police to change their act real fast, that's the way you do it. That's the way you do it. People respond to money real fast. They do. Okay, so that's good. I mean, what else does this bill do? Let's see. Let's scroll through. Ban on no-knock warrants. Okay. So a no-knock warrant is, as it says, I mean, if they have a warrant for you, they could get a warrant, no-knock warrant, where they could just barge right into the home without you even knowing. Right? You can imagine that could be very scary. And you might reach for your gun and start shooting even more. All right, so ban on no-knock warrants. So ban on federal warrants and drug cases. That's what they're asking for. That's what they're saying. So this part of this bill would actually ban no-knock warrants. And if you violate that, what happens is you're not going to get funding. The funding you would get is going to be denied, because people respond to money. They respond to money very well. And anyone who says otherwise, I guess you don't know how to motivate people. I mean, hey, Anyway, let's see. What else do they have here? Department of Justice regulations and reports on racial profiling in the United States. So it addressed that. It addresses racial profiling. That's a good thing, right? People speak bad about racial profiling. We should end that. Okay. Well, this bill's talking about that. Let's see about cameras. Is this bill doing anything about cameras? Let's see. Subtitle C, Law Enforcement Body Cameras, Federal Police Camera and Accountability Act. This part may be cited as federal police, blah, blah. Definitions, we don't need that. Term minor, I think we know what a minor means. Subject of video footage, I think we might know what that means. The person who's being recorded. To do use of force. Okay, so they're laying down the definitions. Okay. Requirement to wear body camera. In general, uniformed officers with the authority to conduct searches and make arrests shall wear a body camera. Now, it doesn't say must. It says shall. Okay, maybe that's the change the Democrats want. Okay. Then make that change. But here's the thing. When you say must, then you have to have the technology ready to provide cameras at every time. And the problem is going to be the limitations of the cameras. It doesn't hold that much. The memory cards aren't that big. And the cloud store, is it stored in the cloud? I hope not. Jeez, imagine that. Anyone can hack that. But the storage capability would have to be really good. You know, some people ask, maybe should they have a live stream? Do a live stream. Just do like your phone, just live stream to something. That might be where we go. I don't know. They all live stream and it goes to some sort of like cops version of Twitch or YouTube. So of course what you see is what you get. So it's gonna have profanity. It's gonna have all sorts of stuff. That might be the new reality show. People might just tune in for that, right? Oh, I'd watch that. I see people at their worst sometimes. It's funny. It's funny. You do it long enough, you learn to develop a sense of humor. Look, man, I'm combing through this, and it seems like this bill addresses a lot of stuff. It seems silly that they didn't pass it, or at least didn't ask for certain changes to be done before they passed it. I don't understand. I don't understand at all. Let's see. Yeah, see, it's addressing cameras. It's definitely encouraging cameras to be continued to be used. Recording of officers to discontinue use of body cameras. Each offer of a uniformed officer to discontinue the use of body camera made pursuant to a subsection, and the response thereto shall be recorded by the body camera prior to discontinuing use of the body camera. So someone could request it be turned off. Okay. Let's see what else. What else does this bill do? Let's comb through. Like I said, this seems like it'd be probably better suited as a live stream thing. But I hope you enjoy this. It talks about the recording medium. Okay. Let's go. Facial recognition technology, Police Camera Act. Let's look at the training. I think the last thing will be the training. What is the training going to be? What does the training look like? Oh God, that's gonna be a key word. That's gonna be everywhere. Improving police training and policies. Let's do that. Title 3. Let's go Title 3. Title 3. All right. Subtitle may be cited as the End Racial and Religious Profiling Act of 2020. That is a great title. The Democrats turned that down. I guess they're opposed to ending racial and religious profiling. They must love it. Let's see here. All right, so to define it, the term covered program means any program or activity funded in whole or in part with funds made available under the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant Program, the Cops on the Beat program, okay. Okay, they're just defining terms right here. Let's go down. Okay. Let's see. Where do they start? Okay, still more terms. More terms. Yeah, a lot of terms. Very thorough. Very thorough document. Okay. So they break down the title to different parts. We're prohibiting of racial profiling. So it's going to talk about this. And the United States or an individual injured by racial profiling may enforce this part in a civil action, okay, or an injunction relief, okay, injunctive release. And any action brought under this part relief may be obtained against any government body, employment, okay. Let's see. So this is where they start talking about the programs. So it looks like they're going to offer additional training on this stuff, how to have to do it differently. Okay. Now look at this part 3, eliminate programs to eliminate racial profiling by state. So once again, very thorough, very detailed. They break it down. I'll talk about data collecting. We talked about that. It looks like they'll be retrained. Development of best practices. Best practices as someone who does social work. I know what that's talking about. Best practices. There's certain things, policy and stuff that officers are allowed to do, can do, but they might always be warranted in that situation. So they, in other words, it's retraining. It's training. That's good. How is that a bad thing? So this bill is going to retrain officers in various aspects, from using profiling to collecting data. It addresses the camera use, it addresses how to use the camera, it addresses police brutality by limiting chokeholds, actually by disincentivizing chokeholds. So what exactly is the problem with this bill? Why would the Democrats not like it? Other than passing it, what Trump would say, it's a win for him. That's the only real reason why I see that this bill was not passed. And any rebuttal to this, I gotta tell you, I don't think there's a good one. The counter argument, what? Because there's something wrong with the bill? That's not good. Because my counter, you already know what that's gonna be. Then why didn't they just talk about it to fix it? That's it. Then they could talk about it. But they're not willing to talk. When they're not willing to talk, nothing gets done. And that's where I am. That's where I sit on this. I don't want to see this as just Democrats just hating on this for some political points. That's what it looks like. I wish it was different. I wish it was the Democrats who were willing to work with the Republicans on this. But, that's not the reality we live in. Anyway, you guys, ladies, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something. And feel free to read this on your own. I will include a link to it in the description box. And y'all have a good one, okay?